This is part 3 in my Geass Season 1 retrospective. In this video, I'll be analyzing the characters and plot. First, characters. Lelouch and Suzaku are excellent. If I look at my character chart, they have everything. Personality, role, values, arc, backstory, and goal. Lelouch is overflowing with charisma that makes me want to join him in terrorism. I explained how each of them valued a specific ideology in part 2, and how they had their values tested. I could argue that Lelouch has had a few arcs. One example would be how he went from not willing to kill Suzaku to willing to kill him. Suzaku definitely had an arc because he abandoned his no-kill rule. Their goals are clear and tied to their ideology. Lelouch's backstory explains why he hates the royal family. Suzaku's backstory previews his hypocrisy that becomes more apparent in the next season. Unfortunately, these are the only two that are written to this level. C2 has personality, some values, like fulfilling the contract and keeping Lelouch alive, a decent backstory, and a goal. She lacks any character arcs, and her values aren't tested often. There were maybe 3 times. When she died in episode 1 for Lelouch, when she pointed a gun at Lelouch, and when she paralyzed Suzaku with his past memories to protect Lelouch. So she's close to the level of the leads. Kallen has personality, but her values were only tested once, which was after the landslide. Apart from that, she's basically Zero's pawn, like many of the Black Knights, until the end of Season 1. But whatever shift the writers were going for at the end of Season 1 gets erased at the start of Season 2. I'll save that for later. She doesn't have an arc in Season 1. Her backstory is vague, but she has a goal. The lower I go in characters, the less boxes are checked. When it comes to the side characters, most of them don't have arcs. Most of them have 1 or 2 defining personality traits. Most of them don't have backstories that explain their values and goals. Ogi starts questioning Zero after the JLF suicide, but this barely goes anywhere in Season 1. Shirley has her values tested when she finds out Lelouch's identity, but before and after, she's a flat, static background character. The villains are mostly plain evil soldiers. Jeremiah, Valletta, and Cornelia don't have a backstory that explains their racism. They don't have arcs. They don't have unique values that are tested in interesting ways. They all share the same goal of obeying orders. They're just pawns for Britannia. Valletta has her memory loss, but that's not character development. That's character rewriting. It does become an arc in Season 2, but we're not there yet. Euphimia is a flat and static character as well. Most of the characters are just pawns, but the issue is hidden well by how excellently the other parts of the story are written. If you pay close attention, other stories like Death Note and Attack on Titan have similar weaknesses. The characters are flat and static, but you don't notice in the moment because the other elements are keeping you entertained. Then the plot. The plot is solid. It follows the plot formula of character times theme equals plot. A lot of the plot is testing Lelouch and Suzaku's beliefs and how far they'll go. Yuffie's plan to help the Japanese was another great plot point that stemmed from character and theme. The mecha war and soap opera also play strong roles in the events that unfold. The way the Black Knights build up a force against Britannia with tactical moves and alliances is excellent. Examples of alliances would be the Black Knights receiving help from Rakshata, allying with the Kyoto House for weapons and funding, and helping the JLF to get Toto and his men. Rakshata gave them several tech advancements, the most notable being the iconic Guren. The schemes I mentioned in the first video seasoned the plot wonderfully. Some of the school-based episodes are a drag though. The season ended with a legendary cliffhanger. When I talked about the soap opera moments in the first video, I said I'd cover the dumb moments in the plot later. That time has come. Apart from Yuffie killing the Japanese, there's Shirley showing up to a battlefield so that the writers could have her learn of Zero's true identity, Mao not dying after getting shot up, and Lelouch, Euphimia, Suzaku, and Kallen all being washed up somewhere somehow so that they can have more soap opera moments and learn each other's true identities. This was especially dumb because no real value comes from the 4 knowing each other's identities. It adds melodrama, but it doesn't change the course of the story. Also, if Mao survived multiple bullets due to advanced medicine, why did Yuffie die from 1 bullet? V2 shows up out of nowhere at the most convenient time to explain what happened to Yuffie so that Suzaku can get revenge. Lelouch lets Cornelia live after defeating her in the last episode despite saying that his objective was to kill her. Kallen having a meltdown in the last scene is ridiculous. She says, "You used us," implying that she's upset that Zero wasn't Japanese. But use is such a negative and unjustified term. He worked with them to better the lives of Japanese people. If he was Japanese, that wouldn't change anything. And like I said in part 2, Lelouch fighting for the Japanese while not being Japanese is more honorable than if he was. And then Lelouch's dialogue is ridiculous. If he wanted to convince Suzaku to work with him, he should have explained that Yuffie was an accident and his powers lost control. Suzaku clearly knows about Geass, but instead, he says, "That's all in the past," throwing fuel on the fire. This is supposed to be a genius, and he's angering the person he's trying to negotiate with. Both of these poor decisions had to happen in order for that standoff to happen. It was still a cool closer for the season. In conclusion, Geass has a brilliant logline that combines 2 iconic and very different stories and takes the absolute best from both worlds to create something even greater than the sum of its parts. It has a mostly phenomenal thematic conflict explored through its main duo. It has a sympathetic villain as the protagonist to enhance the moral dilemma in the themes. It uses the schemer, mecha, and soap opera genres effectively. Although most of the characters are one-dimensional and the soap opera can get unbelievable at times, the rest of its features along with the gripping plot following the plot formula cover those flaws.